Good morning, everyone. Lori Marie here, mixed media artist in Vallejo, California. It's going to be in the 70s today. It's going to be another gorgeous day here. I want to do a special thank you to Ina. Ina, thank you so much for spreading the word about our altered book tutorials. The subscribers show the difference. I've had a few people join us on the table, so that's terrific. We are going to be working on a piece today that will work in your altered book and also as a mixed media piece. So just depending on where you are, or maybe you want to do both. I had a fun time doing both. I need your feedback. I want to order some t-shirts, some long sleeve black t-shirts, and I want to put a slogan on the front of it, not real big, but a slogan on the front of it that would say either see you on the table, or go create, go play, go have fun. And then my name, Lori Marie, would be at the bottom of that, like it would be my quote. So number one, is this something that would interest you? And number two, if so, if you have an opinion, which slogan would you prefer to see on a t-shirt? Black t-shirts, white print. And the more I order, the better deal I can pass on to you. So, all right, enough from me. I'm going to show you the pieces that we're going to play with today when we get on the table. So, see you on the table. So this is the project that we're going to be working on today. Very fun. And then I also did it in the altered book. So I wanted you to see that as well. I put barbed wire here. Wonder if I should put that on my no problems. I'll give that some thought. So anyway, there it is in the altered book, and there it is on a cradle substrate, which is like that, which Courtney gave me, so thank you. All right, the sun is partially up. I have my coffee. Hudson is in his basket. And we are going to go through the supplies. And once again, it's not in any specific order. It's just what we're going to use today. And of course, I may add goodies as we go. This is no problems. I'm hoping I can remember to use that on the piece because it's fun. You'll need your Mod Podge and your gesso and a ruler. Now this is a Fiskars product. Got it years ago. I was introduced to it by my sister-in-law, Susan, and it has this rough edge on it for tearing. It has a tighter edge here and a looser tear edge here, but you can lay it down on a piece of paper and have a little bit more controlled tear. I have underpants, and if you will remember correctly, Chris gave us a whole bunch of scrapbooking paper, so I just picked out some random pieces for that. We're just looking for some background texture with these, so that'll be fun. I'm going to use a napkin today. I have some very well loved sandpaper. I have my Jane Davenport watercolor brush that I will go along the edge of our image with. I have an X-Acto. I have 2 pens, which I only need 1. I have a permanent marker, ultra fine point that I will doodle with, and of course our trusty stabilo. This is the substrate that I'm going to use today. This was given to me by Courtney. Thank you, Courtney. You'll probably want it back now. For my substrates, I really just use what I have around the house. I try not to have to go out and buy things. Well, there you go. My brayer. And a lot of things are gifted to me, as you can tell. People don't use them or can't use them or are tired of looking at them. These are Tim Holtz paper dolls. I'm going to use this for my image. If you don't have the paper dolls, any image will work. And then this gorgeous piece of scrapbooking paper. So those are the supplies as I recall right now. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my substrate with Mod Podge, and I'm just going to start laying underpants down. And since this is a cradle, I will be underpantsing the sides as well. I think most of you have been with me long enough that you have put some underpants on with me, and so I'll just go through this process very quickly. Just gonna put some Mod Podge down. These are really underpants. We're not going to see much of these at all. So just take Mod Podge, lay the Mod Podge down on my substrate, and put a piece of old book text, map, music sheets, whatever you have laying around. Please, please, please try not to make your art projects be out of your budget. That does not work. So use what you have. Anything will work. An old phone book will work. Yeah, those are just some ideas. For this particular project, I am just using old book pages. They are not going to be seen very much at all. All right, I'm just going to work up the piece and down the sides, fold the corners in, and we will move on. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the underpants. Some of you are like, why do you bother to put those down? You just cover them up. It's like, yes, I do cover them up, and they serve a couple of purposes for me anyway. They allow me to get focused on the table. They give me a chance to get bonded with the piece that's going to be created, get my thoughts kind of settled. Sometimes daily tasks are overwhelming, and it's hard for me to get into the studio and get focused. And the other thing that the underpants do is they actually start putting energy into the piece, your energy into the piece. I find that if I don't put the underpants on and I just start painting on the substrate, for me, it just doesn't have the amount of energy that I want the piece to have. So it's just layers and layers of paper and energy. And I really enjoy that. So this gives me a moment just to connect with the piece that's going to happen. Isn't this Teflon sheet just handy dandy? Look at there. I can just make a mess and move things around. Thank you, Chris. All right, as you can see, I'm just taking everything up the sides, wrapping it like a little present. Well, that's what it is, I suppose. It's a present. So since I had enough, I just went ahead and wrapped the back of it as well. Had I not had enough, I probably wouldn't have worried about that, but I did, so I just went for it. So I remember something that I forgot to tell you. I am going to be using my chalk pastels today. Pan pastels and chalk pastels. And I have a little piece of felt that I use to apply them with. It's just a little piece of felt that I had laying around. It's become a tool. Alright, so our substrate is all covered with underpants. Set that aside to dry. I'm going to bring in the scrapbooking paper and that fun edge. And what I'm going to do is I am just going to start ripping the scrapbooking paper into pieces. Now I'm not going to be particular about white edges, beveled edges, things like that. I just want some pieces. And then we want all different sizes. How did my underpants get in there? So just go through your scrapbooking paper. I don't know, maybe 20 pieces, something like that. First I'll make the strips, and then I will go back in. All kinds of goodies in there. And I will make some of them small. Oh, really small. Longer. And these are going to be used for texture on your piece. We're putting gesso on them, so it doesn't matter if they match or don't match. We'll pick up the color a little bit, but we're more than that using them for texture. Tummy's growling. Oh, I like that. The back of that one, that's nice and dark. All right, this just gives you a little bit more control, but doesn't make the edge straight. Oh, I like this one too. Let's tear that one. All right. So I have a variety of scrapbook scraps. And I'm just going to go in and make different sizes out of that. So these are my scrapbook scraps. I'm sure I have more than 20, and I'm sure I won't use all of them. So I'm going to grab my brush and Mod Podge, and I am just going to start adding these fun pieces onto the board. Here again, we're looking for texture. We're going to leave some of the underpants showing. Don't worry, we'll still have some of those showing, all your good work there. And I'm just going to go down the piece like that and just add some pieces. I'm not going to bother to go over the side. We have underpants on there, that's a bonus already. I don't want that piece. This. Yeah, I think that's better. You don't want them all the same size. So as you go through, you can pick out some pieces or create new pieces by tearing them. Oh, shaky. Had some coffee this morning. Woo-hoo! All right, you get the idea. I actually used this technique in the altered book, so that was fun to do. All right, I'm just going to put a little bit of gesso on my handy dandy Teflon sheet. Grab my brayer. This is not completely dry. If you have the patience to let that completely dry, once again, my hat's off to you. I just keep moving forward. All right, I'm going to put some gesso on my brayer, and then I'm just going to go over the piece. Here again, I'm not going to go over the sides. They have underpants on them, and I'm quite content with that. Your brayer and the gesso will create a little bit of texture on there as well. All right, I dried my gesso with my heat stick, and there's actually a benefit to putting your gesso on before your Mod Podge dries. The gesso shrinks and it creates some cracks, which is a very fun texture as well. All right, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my little piece of felt that you can clearly see I've used before, and I just keep using it. I've picked 3 colors of chalk. This is a pastel, a pan pastel. They're kind of expensive, but they last forever. And then these are the chalk pastels that just come in the sticks. So I think I'll grab the pink first. Put it on the pink corner of my felt. And then I'm just going to rub some color on my piece. Picking up the color nicely. Come in with my second color, find my turquoise spot on my felt. Bring that color in. And just feel the piece. It'll tell you where it needs some color. You guys have been doing this for a while now. And then I'm going to add some of this limey kind of a green, yellow green. And that feels pretty good. So next we are going to grab our napkin. I chose a polka dot napkin. And my hands are all full of Mod Podge. And what you will need to do is make sure that you are down to one layer of napkin. Some of them are 2-ply, some of them are 3-ply, and you just want one thin layer. Okay, leaving the other layers behind. Can you see how thin that is? Otherwise, when you glue it down, it will separate. And we are going for a pretty translucent look here. There we go. It has an image on it here. I will not be using that image. I just want the polka dots. Save that. It's good for something later. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Mod Podge all over the box, and then I'm going to lay my tissue down. Alright, so let's grab that handy dandy brush. And the Mod Podge doesn't seem to move the chalk pastel too much, so just go for it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add some to the side. I don't want the whole side with napkin, but I think it'll be fun to have some napkin on the sides. Now I'm totally getting off the screen. Here we go. Just a little bit on the sides, because we're going to tear it off as we go. Alright. Can you see your chalk pastel is still there? And I'm just going to take the napkin and I'm going to lay it down and I'm going to pat it. There will be a little bit of texture. Go ahead and pat on those sides because those will glue a little bit. And then I'm going to take my Mod Podge brush and I'm going to put Mod Podge all over the napkin. This will make it very translucent. A little bit on the sides, catch where we glued the napkin onto the sides. That will just have an organic look when we rip it off. I'm just going to remove the excess napkin. Then I'm going to set this aside and let it dry some more. I'll save these pieces, you know I will. Just doing that so it doesn't take up quite so much room. Alright, for the next part of this project, I have my scrapbooking paper that I like, a piece of cardboard to set between the scrapbooking paper and my Teflon sheet to protect it, X-Acto pen, watercolor brush, and my paper dolls. going to take my paper dolls and I'm going to put them on the back of this sheet. And I'm going to go in with my pen. Look at my fingers all full of Mod Podge. And I'm just going to trace this adorable couple, bride and the groom. Now I put them face down because I want the silhouette to match them. So I put the paper doll facing the back of that scrapbooking paper. Now I'm going to take my X-Acto and I'm just going to go around here and cut the piece out. So I want you to try to just make a single cut along the edge because we're going to be using the inside and the outside of this piece. So try to preserve both pieces. So now we have, aren't I glad I had that underneath? Yes, I am. So now I have their shadow, their positive, their negative, and them. Lovely. So this is too big. Let's bring our little box back. And I am going to use my crooked line. Do I want a crooked line? No, I think I'll use my ruler. Kind of get a straight line here. She says. And I'm just going to tear this into a smaller piece so that it will fit my substrate better. And I had already torn the bottom off. Kind of gorgeous, huh? Can't you just see this? I don't know how it's going to go yet, but it's going to be fun. All right, now I'm going to take my watercolor pen and I'm just going to go along the edge. This edge is far too white and it will stand out. So however you want to darken the edge, you can do it with a Sharpie, you can do it with an ink pad, whatever works for you. I just happen to think this is pretty easy. So I'll go around the edge of this, I'll go around the edge of this, and I will go around the edge of that with that watercolor. So I took the watercolor brush and I went around the no problems that I'm hoping to remember to use. And then I'm going around the piece that we cut out too. I know this is a pain, but it makes a huge difference. In my mind, I think I'm going to grab some distress ink too for working on the piece. We shall see. Alright, I think I've got everything pretty well covered. Go around there, see, well, there's a little white edge there. That looks pretty good. So I've outlined this, and this, and these guys with the watercolor brush. Now I'm going to bring the piece back in. And I'm going to grab my sandpaper. My sandpaper is very well loved. Alright, I know this is noisy, but I'll just show you how I'm going to start it. And I'm just going to go in there aggressively go in and grunge it up. Now I'm going to go back in. I sanded it, and then I just cleaned it off with a little bit of a damp rag to get all the dust off it. Oh, it's pretty fun, huh? I'm going to go in with my Stabilo and do the edges. And you guys know that if you have a preference on how to apply the Stabilo, please do. I'm a spit and smear kind of girl. Spit and smudge. So you'll do the edges, and then also what you'll do is just pick up a couple of those fun edges on the texture that you've been working so hard on. Okay? Just to bring those up a little bit. Bring them forward. And as you guys know, I work awfully hard on my backgrounds because I love the backgrounds. And we're just adding some depth with that smoky finish of that Stabilo. Okay, we're going to call that ready. Now, since it's dry, I can just go in here and pull that napkin off. And it's down the sides a little bit, just for a more finished look. You can remove all that. I'll do that a little bit better off camera. You don't need to watch that. Okay, so there that is. Let's bring our goodies back in. Oh, you know what? I need to hit that edge with that watercolor pen, watercolor brush. Did not do the edge. Let's do that before we move on. That's a good idea. All right. A little bit down here. There we go. That feels better. All right, let's see what we can do about this now. So we have that, and then we have this, and then we have this, and then we have this. So as I look at that, the thing that stands out too much is this. So I'll take some Distress ink to that. So I'm just going to take, what color did I choose? Walnut stain. I'm just going to put some walnut stain on here. There's that spit and smudge again. All right, now as I look at that, now it is too perfect. So let's grunge that up a little bit. Can't have it too perfect. There we go. It's looking like it's a little bit older and not brand new out of a magazine, huh? Ta-da! All right, my friends, I'm going to grab my Mod Podge and I'm going to start gluing these things down. Now this is all sealed with the Mod Podge, so I don't have to worry about any colors running, which is really nice. So we'll just put some Mod Podge down. And this particular scrapbook paper has some consistency to it, so I'm going to have to really massage it down to get it to stay. Didn't know where to put my brush. And I think I'll take my paper towel and just push on that. That feels like that's down pretty good. All right, next is this piece. Now this one I can put Mod Podge on the back of because I know exactly where that Mod Podge needs to go. Sometimes this is when I look up at the camera and I haven't been recording. That's so unsettling. Move that over a little bit. I need to turn this around so that I can feel the energy. Excuse me for a moment. There we go, that's good. Push that down. And now I'm going to glue the happy couple on. I'm going to turn it around, gang. Sorry. The energy toward you is a little bit different than the energy toward me. Stay still, you two. And our no problems. Wonderful. So the last thing that I would do, well, I don't know if it's the last thing, but one of the last things that I'm going to do is to bring that distressing back in. I'm actually going to use my finger and just kind of smudge it around a little bit. Grunge it up a bit. Well, wet Mod Podge there. Okay, I'm back. I had a gallery opening yesterday, so I was rudely taken away from my studio, if you can well imagine. So I'm just going to grunge this up a little bit more with the Distress ink, and then we're going to talk about the Stabilo. Okay, we're going to call that good. Put the lid on that. That's always a good idea. Now, let's talk about the Stabilo a little bit. So there's several ways to use the Stabilo. The way that I do it is just to add a little bit of spit onto my finger and then go around the edges. Okay, some of you are offended by that. I understand. So what I've brought in is a little piece of sponge, a blending stump, and a makeup Q-tip. This is used for applying makeup. So let's use the Q-tip first, okay? I still want moisture on that Q-tip, and believe me, if you stick it in water, it really gets a lot on it. So unfortunately, I still spit I still spit on it, okay? So you can go in with the tip of that and blend your stabilo like that. That will get you nice and close to that edge. All right, so there's one way. All right, let's go in with a blending stump. I'm not adding moisture to this, so you can see how that blends out. Okay. Q-tip, sponge. All right, the sponge is just in place of putting my finger in my mouth. So I'll just touch that sponge, make sure it's not too wet, and then go in there and blend it out. Okay, so there's several different ways that you can use the stabilo. I love the stabilo. 8046 Stabilo All. And I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to finish stabiloing my piece, and then I will bring it back and show it to you. If I can stop long enough to shut the camera off. All right, I'm going to show you this piece in the intro, so you will see it in its finished state. I'm going to go ahead and stabilo and finish the piece. It's pretty darn fun. All right, go create, go play, go have fun. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for putting me on your playlist. Thanks for liking it. Thanks for disliking it. All those things that YouTube likes. And we have created quite a village. I appreciate you very, very much. Go play.